What if everything you think you know about getting rich is wrong? Imagine this. You have a prestigious job in New York City, a six-figure salary, and the admiration of your peers. Would you risk it all for an idea so bold that it could make you the laughingstock of everyone around you? That's exactly what Jeff Bezos did. In 1994, he made a decision that seemed reckless, absurd even. But here's the thing. This one choice would eventually make him the richest man in the world. What was it that he saw that no one else could? And more importantly, what did he know that most of us don't? The answer may completely change the way you think about success. At the time, Jeff Bezos was working at D.E. Shaw, one of the most prestigious financial firms in New York. Surrounded by some of the brightest minds in the industry, he had a boss he deeply respected and a career path most people would dream of. But one day, Jeff stumbled upon a startling statistic. The internet was growing at 2,300% per year. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and he couldn't ignore it. That realization planted the seed for an idea that most people would have dismissed immediately. But Jeff couldn't shake it off. He walked into his boss's office and said, "I'm leaving to start a company that will sell books online." His boss was shocked. In fact, to help Jeff reconsider, he invited him for a long walk in Central Park. During that walk, Jeff outlined his plan with excitement, but his boss had doubts. He listened carefully and then said, "Jeff, this sounds like a great idea. But honestly, it's probably a better idea for someone who doesn't already have a great job." That statement would have stopped most people in their tracks. Why risk everything for something so uncertain? But Jeff wasn't like most people. He left anyway. The question is, what made him so sure? What was he betting on that no one else could see? And how can you apply the same principle to your life? Stick around, because the answer to that might just unlock the secret to building wealth. So Jeff Bezos ignored his boss's advice and made the leap anyway. He left behind the security of a high-paying job, trading it for an uncertain future and a garage in Seattle where Amazon was born. At the time, it wasn't glamorous. He didn't have investors lining up to fund his idea, and the internet was still a mystery to most people. But Jeff had one thing driving him forward, an unshakable belief in his vision. He didn't just want to sell books. He wanted to create something that could change the way the world worked. But here's the strange part. Even those who met him early on thought his idea was absurd. Take David, an investor Jeff approached in the early days. Jeff passionately pitched him the idea. "I'm going to sell books online. I'll start in my garage, ship orders myself, and one day, this business will dominate the world." David listened politely, but couldn't wrap his head around the concept. He thought, why would anyone buy books on the internet when they can just go to a bookstore? And when Jeff boldly claimed, "One day, this company will make me the richest man in the world, and its value will exceed $100 billion. David couldn't help but laugh internally. At the time, $100 billion sounded like a fantasy. To most people, it was an impossible number bigger than entire economies, something no startup could ever dream of reaching. But here's the key difference. While others doubted, Jeff didn't flinch. He wasn't looking for immediate validation. He believed in his plan so deeply that the laughter and skepticism of others didn't faze him. Where most people saw risks, he saw potential. He understood something about the future that no one else did. What was it? What allowed him to stay focused while everyone around him thought he was crazy? This wasn't blind optimism or luck. There was a very specific principle at play, a principle that separates those who make it big from those who play it safe. Jeff Bezos has often said that success is about more than talent, it's about choices. As a young boy, he wasn't just curious. He was relentless in turning ideas into reality. In his childhood garage, he built everything from a solar cooker made of aluminum foil to homemade alarm systems. designed to catch his siblings sneaking into his room. These weren't polished inventions, but they were the start of something bigger. His passion for creating solutions, no matter how small or imperfect, planted the seed for his future success. And this wasn't a coincidence, it was a pattern. Fast forward to his days as the founder of Amazon, and you can see how that same curiosity and drive guided his choices. When asked about his decision to leave his secure job, Jeff explained it wasn't about chasing what was trendy or popular. He said, "Do something you're very passionate about. Don't chase the hot passion of the day." His reasoning was simple. Trends fade, but passion endures. That passion was his compass, and it led him to take what he called the less safe path. It was a decision grounded not in certainty, but in the belief that even if he failed, he wouldn't regret trying. That mindset, prioritizing effort and exploration over comfort, became the foundation of everything he built. Jeff also believed deeply in the value of slow, deliberate progress. One of his favorite phrases, borrowed from the military, is "slow is smooth and smooth is fast." It's a concept he applied to everything, from inventing as a child to scaling Amazon into the global powerhouse it is today. Instead of rushing to be the first, he focused on being the best, building systems that worked efficiently and consistently. That's how Amazon moved from selling books out of a garage to becoming the one-stop shop for nearly everything. His approach wasn't flashy, but it worked. And here's the surprising part. Jeff doesn't credit his success to natural talent or gifts. He said, "You can't be proud of your gifts, they're given to you. But you can be proud of your hard work and your choices." This philosophy not only shaped his career, but it's also something we can all learn from. Jeff Bezos has always emphasized one critical truth. Life is defined not by what you're given, but by the choices you make. Gifts, whether it's intelligence, physical ability, or natural talent, are valuable, but they aren't what shape your legacy. As he explained, you can't be proud of your gifts because they were given to you, but you can be proud of your hard work and your choices. And the most important choice of all, deciding what kind of life you want to build. Jeff puts it this way: you can choose a life of ease and comfort, or you can choose a life of service and adventure. When you're 80 years old, looking back on your story, which path will you be proud to have taken? In many ways, Jeff's journey reflects that philosophy. He chose the harder path, the one filled with risk, uncertainty, and relentless effort. But that choice led to innovation, opportunity, and a legacy that reshaped the world. He didn't stop at imagining what could be. He acted on it. And as he says, this moment right now is the greatest time to be alive. The amount of opportunity, change, and inspiration is unprecedented, he says. But the question isn't whether opportunity exists, it's whether you'll seize it. Jeff challenges us to reflect on the stories we're writing for ourselves. Are you choosing comfort over passion? Inertia over action? Dogma over originality? Jeff's questions aren't just philosophical, they're deeply practical. Will you wilt under criticism or follow your convictions? Will you play it safe or will you take risks and embrace adventure? Will you give up when it gets tough or will you stay relentless? These aren't just questions for entrepreneurs. They're questions for anyone who wants to lead a meaningful life. And Jeff's story proves that those who choose action over excuses, passion over doubt, and perseverance over fear are the ones who change the world. He doesn't just ask, "What will you do?" He shows us what's possible when you dare to choose the extraordinary. So, here's the takeaway. Wealth, success, and impact are born from talent alone. They come from deliberate choices, choosing to follow your passion, to ignore the naysayers, and to keep pushing forward when it would be easier to quit. Jeff Bezos wasn't born into wealth or handed a blueprint for success. He built it by making bold, sometimes uncomfortable decisions. And if there's one thing his journey teaches us, it's this: the life you want is within reach, but only if you're willing to choose it. So, what story will you write for yourself? Every great visionary in history has had one thing in common. They didn't wait for the perfect moment, they created it. Jeff Bezos understood this better than anyone. He said, "Every time you figure out some way of providing tools and services that empower other people to deploy their creativity, you're really onto something." And if we look at the giants of history, Jules Verne, Mark Twain, Galileo, Isaac Newton, we see the same relentless pursuit of a vision that changed the world. Jules Verne, who wrote stories about space travel and submarines when those things were nothing but dreams, laid the groundwork for the future with nothing but his imagination and words. He saw what the world could be, and because of him, generations of innovators have followed in his footsteps. Mark Twain, whose adventures of Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn shaped the very fabric of American literature, created worlds with his words, breaking the boundaries of what was possible with storytelling. He was a trailblazer, challenging societal norms and showing us the power of questioning everything. And then there's Galileo, who defied the authority of his time to prove that the Earth revolved around the sun, not the other way around. Galileo's courage in the face of persecution wasn't just an act of science. It was a fight for truth and progress, a stand against fear and ignorance. And of course, Isaac Newton, whose discoveries laid the foundation for modern physics, showing us that by understanding the world's laws, we could unlock unimaginable possibilities. All of these minds dared to dream beyond their time, to act on their passions, to take that one risky step forward, knowing that the world might not understand them yet, but they pressed on regardless. Jeff Bezos, too, faced skepticism when he said he would transform how the world shops and how business is done. He didn't have all the answers, just like Verne didn't know how to build a submarine, or Galileo didn't know what his discoveries would mean for the future. But like them, Jeff was driven by a deep, unshakable belief that if you empower people to create, innovate, and dream, the possibilities are endless. His choice wasn't easy, but it was bold. He too chose a life of service and adventure over ease and comfort. He chose to bet on the future, just as those great minds did before him. Today, the world is full of opportunity, perhaps more than ever before. We stand on the shoulders of these giants: Bezos, Verne, Twain, Galileo, and Newton, who dared to create, to innovate, and to choose the harder path. But the question remains, what will you do with your own gifts? Will you wait for the perfect moment, or will you make the moment perfect? Will you choose comfort, or will you choose a life of adventure and service, even if it means embracing the unknown? In the end, it's your choices that define you, not your gifts. Just like Jeff Bezos, you have the power to write your own story. You may not have all the answers right now, but if you have the courage to take action and the persistence to keep going, you'll create something that echoes through time, just as these great minds did. The world is waiting for what you will create. Don't waste the chance to be part of something bigger than yourself. Choose adventure, choose service, and choose to make a difference. The time is now. Will you step up and write your story? The real secret to Jeff Bezos' success isn't just his innovation or his ambition. It's his patience and his ability to choose long-term vision over short-term gain. While others were obsessed with immediate results, Bezos focused on the future. He made decisions based on where the world would be in 10 or 20 years, not where it was today. This is the same thinking that allowed Verne to imagine a world that hadn't been built yet. So, why does no one talk about this secret? Because it's not glamorous, it's not flashy, and it's not what we expect from the overnight success stories we hear about in the media. The real secret is simple. Success comes from having the courage to play the long game, to fail, to adapt, and to be relentless in the pursuit of your vision. And it's a choice, just like the great geniuses before him. Bezos chose to stay focused, to ignore the noise, and to keep pushing forward, no matter the setbacks. Jeff Bezos didn't just join the ranks of the greats. He redefined what it means to be a visionary in the modern world. And the secret to his success isn't some formula that's hidden away. It's the same thing that allowed people like Galileo, Newton, and Verne to change the world. It's the courage to follow a dream, the wisdom to stay patient, and the persistence to never give up, no matter how impossible it seems. Henry Ford once said, "If I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said, faster horses." When cars did not yet exist, people could only think of improvements to what already existed: horses. Never something new, something that transcends the existing. And if you understand me well, this is not about horses nor cars. This is about creating a world that does not exist yet. This is the Climbing Wealth Channel, your guide to climbing the ladder of success and unlocking the doors to wealth. If you're ready to start building your own legacy, just like the great innovators we talked about today, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video with anyone who needs a little inspiration to take the next step toward their own greatness. We'd love to hear from you. What's the bold choice you're making today to change your future? Let us know in the comments. Remember, success doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice. Keep pushing forward, keep believing in your vision, and stay committed to your journey. The world is waiting for you to rise. See you in the next video, where we'll dive deeper into the strategies and mindsets of the world's most successful people. Until then, keep climbing.